Straight
We are in a society of cowards, of people with no balls. And when I say no balls, I'm talking about the men and the women. And your opportunity is always, always in the same place. Opportunity is always in the opposites. I was thinking about this today, that if I walked into a room full of people, let's just say I walked into a room full of, I would even say my own family members, but anybody, let's just say some career people, professionals, business people, etc. And I asked the following question. Let's just say 10 people, all right, 10 random people who are fully grown adults with careers, jobs, businesses, whatever. And I said to them, is it possible for a boy to become a girl? And I said, how many of you think yes? How many of you think no? Let me ask you a question watching this. Of those 10 people, how many of them do you think would not give an immediate no? That's crazy. What kind of question is that? How many of them would not say that? They would either say yes, a boy can become a girl, or they would kind of waffle on the answer like, well, it depends, or I don't know, or I don't want to get into that, or I don't want to talk about it. How many of them do you think would give some kind of bullshit answer like that? I would say 80%. If I just pick 10 random people, I say 8 out of 10 would give some waffling answer, or they would say yes, that a boy can become a girl. I think maybe 2 of those 10 people would say, that's a stupid ass question. No, a boy cannot become a girl. Who the hell, where did you even get that information? And those 2 out of 10 will either be people who own their own businesses and they are not trying to appease any certain audience, so they'll say whatever it is they want to say, or it'll be someone who is staunchly religious in their religion, and their religion has already made this clear, so they are not going to basically sell out their own religion to push some crazy ideology like this. And actually, that's pretty much it. Or it just be somebody who has nothing to lose for whatever reason. It's usually based on one of those 2 reasons. And not you have nothing to lose, you're religious, but you have some principles that you're standing on, or you have a business and you don't really care about trying to appease people and get people to like you by saying stuff that you think they're going to agree with. And I'm saying all that to say this. You can probably draw inferences, context clues from what I'm saying here. There's no way that a boy can become a girl. That's ridiculous. No such thing as changing your gender. You cannot change genders. So there's no such thing as a transgender person. You cannot trans your gender. That's impossible. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because same question 30 years ago. Walk into a room with 10 people 30 years ago and ask the exact same question. So I'm recording this in late 2024. And so that would take us to what, 1994? 1994, you walk into a room with 10 adults, professionals, business owners, whoever, just adults with full-time careers, jobs, whatever, and say a boy can become a girl. Is that a real thing? I would say 9 out of 10 would probably just laugh at you immediately with the fact you even asked the question. And maybe you have one weirdo in the room who somehow maybe reads about this or thinks about it or knows someone who has dabbled in this bullshit, and they would waffle on their answer and maybe even say yes. Maybe 1 out of 10 would have said yes 30 years ago. 8 out of 10 would waffle or say yes today. And what does that reflect? That reflects that our society is getting weaker, because when we talk about something like biological reality, which is not really the point here, but since we're talking about it, something like biological reality is not flexible. Biological reality is not flexible. It doesn't change. It's not proprietary either. You don't change it just based on how the fuck you feel or what you think or whatever other flexible bullshit people are coming up with these days that somehow, some way has gotten accepted in society. I don't know why or where this nonsense came from, but this is not the way that it's working. This is not it. And I'm bringing this up to, again, the bigger point here is not about that. The bigger point is about we got a society of weaklings. And we have a whole lot of people, many of you who are listening to this, you are guilty of this. You know what the truth is. You know what the reality, if you want to use that term, is. You know what you actually believe. You know the principles that you stand on. You know what you think, what you believe, what you know. You know what you know. The problem is not that you don't know those things anymore. The problem is that society has indoctrinated a bunch of you to stop believing your own eyes, stop believing your own thoughts even, and buy into some bullshit that has been force-fed to you, and you have accepted the bullshit, and you no longer have the balls to stand on your own convictions. That's what's actually happened in the world. What's actually happened is that we got a bunch of people with no balls not willing to stand on what you have believed for the last 20, 30 years, and because it's become popular or trendy, or because your job tells you that you have to, or the people around you are all doing it, you don't have the balls to look at them and say, you fucking idiots, what the hell are you talking about? This is not a real thing. This is what it actually is. Y'all know what it actually is. It was always this. I don't know how all of a sudden everyone has this new reality or belief in their minds. This is bullshit. What the hell is going on here? Many of you don't have the balls to say that, to stand up in front of a room full of people who you know and actually say that. That is the weakness in society today. And the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, is always in the opposites. The opportunity is always in looking at what everybody else is not doing and doing it, or looking around at what everybody else is doing and not doing it. That's the opportunity. The problem with opportunity, as the old saying goes, problem with opportunity is that it's dressed up in overalls and it's disguised as hard work. And this is not really hard work, just having some balls and standing up, but it is a form of hard work because it's something that's hard to do. And there may be some consequences, if you want to use that word, that come with standing up and telling people, you fucking idiots, this is what it is, and this is what is real, and any of you acting like that's not what it is, y'all are ridiculous and out of your damn minds. See, now there may be some work that comes on the back end of that, because some people may not like you, somebody may push against you, somebody might argue with you, you may find yourself having to defend your position for whatever reason against certain people, or explain yourself. God forbid, explain yourself to somebody when you say something like that. And that's only if you have a job or you have people who you have to answer to. And it's one of the reasons why I'm an entrepreneur, because I answer to absolutely no one under any circumstances. But it takes balls. The whole point is you gotta have some fucking balls. You don't have to have any tangible things. You don't have to have a business. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. You don't have to have a certain status. You don't have to know certain people. You don't have to have a certain item on your resume or any of those things that many of you tend to believe, well, once I have these things, then I'll start actually speaking my mind. No, how you get those things is by fucking speaking your mind now. And I'm bringing all this up, not because I need anybody to tell it to me. I will say these things, clearly. I mean, you see I'm putting this video out, and I know it's going to get suppressed on certain platforms because of what I'm saying. It's because we need more people with some fucking balls to stand up, because if 2% of people in society have balls and are actually saying what's real, but 98% of people are echoing the bullshit, then that means the next wave of people are, by statistically, just probability alone, are going to come up believing the bullshit, because there's a 98% chance that that's where you're getting your information is from somebody who believes the bullshit, not from somebody with some balls that actually tells you what it is. And then when the people with the balls actually come up and tell you what it is, the 98% are going to shout down the 2% and and say, no, you can't say that. No, that's not true. No, that's not real. No, it's bullshit. Don't believe that person. Look, it's 98 out of 100 people don't agree with that person, so clearly that person must be wrong. That's what we call a bandwagon fallacy. So that's a false framing. It's a illogical way of looking at life, but a lot of people are very illogical. A lot of people don't know how to think. A lot of people don't know how to formulate arguments. This is why when someone speaks up and they actually tell the truth and they get silenced, attacked, they get negative labels put on them by the masses, or what some people call the matrix. A lot of people who, again, don't have balls aren't willing to question the bullshit that they're being told. They're not willing to question the bullshit and say, wait a minute, why are y'all saying that this person's wrong, when clearly what they're saying, it appears to be pretty accurate, it appears to be pretty logical and rational and right. Why are y'all saying that this person's wrong? But when you have 98 people in the room saying that the person's wrong, and only one person saying that and only 2 people saying that they're right, it's hard for a lot of you to go against the grain. And this is the reason why the title of this video is the title of this video. We have a society of fucking cowards. A society of people who have no balls. And some of you who are younger, if you're under the age of 25, I am holding you responsible for this, but it's not really your fault that you have no balls. If you're over 25, it's your fault you have no balls, because you know better. And let's just say over 30. So if you're between 25 and 30, there may be some gray area depending on your situation. But you're over 30, you know better. And you have no balls, and it's your fault and your responsibility. If you're under 30, then it's both, under 25 rather, it is both your fault and your responsibility. Why? I said that wrong. If you're over 30, it is your fault and your responsibility. And if you're under 25, it is probably not your fault, but it is your responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility. Now, why could it not be your fault if you're under 25? Because you were raised by the internet generally, and your parents or teachers or whoever your leaders were, your adults that you looked up to growing up, they may have been warped with the bullshit, and they had their balls castrated off of them, and they can only teach you what they know. So they taught you this. So you're under 25. You are simply a victim of the circumstance. But that does not mean that you're going to sit around and have no balls for the rest of your life, because I just held you accountable and told you that even though it's not your fault, it's still your responsibility to do something about it, because I'm making this conscious for you. It is now part of your consciousness, which means you're now responsible for what you know. Now, see, if you're ignorant of something that you don't know, then I can't hold you responsible for it necessarily, because you don't know what you don't know. I can't tell somebody to act on something that they don't know because you don't know it. But now that I just told it to you and you just heard what the hell I said, now you're responsible for it. I don't care how old you are. If your parents didn't have balls, that is no excuse for you to not have balls. If your parents used to have balls and now they don't have balls anymore because their bosses in society have chopped their balls off and made them accept some bullshit that they would have laughed at 30 years ago, and now they're accepting it as if it's true, and there are many examples of this. I'm not going to say names today, but I may in the future. All right, you are still responsible for getting some balls yourself, even though your parents have had theirs stripped from them. And if you happen to be a parent and your balls have been stripped from you and this video is waking you up, good morning. Cut the bullshit. The opportunity moving forward in society today, folks, is because we are developing an extremely weak society, a very frail society, a society of people with no balls whatsoever. Your opportunity is going to be the person who has some balls. Don't say that I didn't tell you. At workonyourgameuniversity.com, you can learn how to get some balls, how to actually use your balls in whatever line of work you happen to be in, whatever business, career, profession you happen to be in, and you can have me as your direct coach in the process of doing it. That's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is down below in the description to this video. Work on your game and get some balls. Enjoy all day.